Alrighty, friends, welcome back to Anatomy and Physiology. I hope that you are all doing well, that you are staying safe, that you're washing your hands. I hope that your families are healthy and that things are going okay. So today we are moving into our cardiovascular system. So we just got done talking about blood. So remember, blood has three formed elements, right? So you have platelets and white blood cells and red blood cells, and that it is suspended in a liquid matrix called plasma. So today we're going to talk about the piping and the pump that the blood moves through in the cardiovascular system. So this says circulatory system. You can also call it cardiovascular system. It's actually day one. I'm not sure why this says day two. I must have gotten carried away. This is day one cardiovascular stuff. So what are we doing today? We are going to define the cardiovascular system and know that it consists of heart and blood vessels. We are going to describe how the heart pumps blood. We are going to label a diagram of the heart and describe the atria and their purpose and the ventricles and their purpose. We are going to name the major blood vessels of the body and review parts of the blood. Due today is blood IP number 3. It should be vocab, and there will be a key up on Haiku for your viewing pleasure. I did want to say good job on the practice from last class. You guys did really good on that. Most people got most of them right, so good job on that. Okay, today's agenda. I have this video for your intro. This is some notes. I am posting a PDF of these notes so you can like stop and look and like see all the things closer up. Then I also have a short video, 4-minute video about how the heart actually pumps blood. It's a TED Ed video. It's pretty good. Then there's an Ed Puzzle video about its crash course intro to the heart. And then an exit ticket that's also going to be for points. Okay? So, how big is the heart? What can it do? Let's talk about the heart. The heart is, I'm going to put myself back up here. Human heart weighs about 10.5 ounces. It beats about 100,000 times in one day and about 35 million times in a year. And it pumps about 1 million barrels of blood during the average lifetime. That is enough to fill more than 3 super tankers. So your heart is a machine. Functions of the circulatory system. Number 1 is transport. So we're going to transport nutrients and waste. We're going to transport heat, oxygen and CO2, and hormones and antibodies. Okay, so pumping all this stuff all around your body. Your blood is how this stuff is carried, and your cardiovascular system pumps it around your body. There are 3 main parts of your cardiovascular system. We have the heart, which on this picture is here, heart. And then blood vessels, which are these guys, and I have a bigger picture of this on the next slide. And then the blood. So, with the cardiovascular system, it is important to note that it pumps in kind of like a circle 8 cycle. So the blood, if we're starting at your heart, right, the blood will pump out of your heart into your aorta and then go into your big arteries in your body. This blood that's been pumped out of your heart will then go all the way to your different tissues in your body. So like sometimes it goes down to your fingers, sometimes it goes down to your toes, sometimes it goes to your kidneys. So it circulates throughout your body and it drops off whatever it's carrying. So it's going to drop off oxygen, and then it will, in the capillary, which are these little tiny blood vessels, will drop off that oxygen. It will pick up carbon dioxide and other wastes. And then it will travel back to your heart. And when it gets back to your heart, it gets pumped into the right atria and then into the right ventricle. And then the right ventricle pumps and it sends that blood into your lungs. And that blood will then drop off the CO2 and it will pick up some oxygen. And then it will return to your heart through the left atria and then go to the left ventricle. And then it will be pumped back out to your body. Okay? I have this on another slide, so don't worry about like just memorizing what I said. We have it on slides. So the heart, right? The heart is the main machine in the middle that's responsible for pumping all this blood. It's a pump. It is a hollow organ, and it has 4 chambers. So if you cut open a heart, you'll notice that there are chambers in it. There are 2 atria. The atria are these small chambers on top. So you have 1, 2. And then you have 2 ventricles, and these are the bigger chambers on the bottom. So 1, 2. It also has a septa. So in your nose, right, your septum is the middle part. In your heart, same thing. Septum is this middle dividing line between the ventricles. And then it has valves. So there are valves in between your atria and your ventricle. Those are called atrioventricular valves. Sorry. And then there are valves that go into your blood vessels. So you have the tricuspid and bicuspid valves that go, oh, I didn't mean ventricles, I meant blood vessels. Sorry. They go into your blood vessels. Okay, so chambers of the heart. Your right atrium is where we are going to start. So blood flows into your right atrium, and this is unoxygenated blood that comes in from your veins. So the blood has been out in your body, it has dropped off its oxygen, it has picked up CO2, it returns to the right atrium. That right atrium will contract, and when it contracts, it pushes that blood into the right ventricle. Okay, so right ventricle opens, fills with this deoxygenated blood. And that right ventricle will then contract or squeeze, and it squeezes into your lungs. So it goes into your pulmonary arteries, and those pulmonary arteries carry that deoxygenated blood into your lungs. At your lungs, your blood does oxygen exchange or gas exchange, and you have CO2 being dropped off and oxygen being picked up. And then through your pulmonary veins, which go back to the heart, it re-enters at your left atrium, which receives this oxygenated blood from the lungs and pumps it into the left ventricle. So the left atrium is going to contract, and then the left ventricle will fill up with blood. And the left ventricle then will contract and send that blood into your aorta. So your left ventricle is the biggest chamber of your heart, and when it pumps into the aorta, it transports that blood throughout the entire body. So it's really, your heart's very, very strong. Upper and lower chambers. So your atria are known as your upper chambers, and your ventricles are known as your lower chambers. Here is a more schematic picture of your circulatory system, and I think it does a good job showing your like the figure 8 circulation. So if we start, let's say we have blood coming from your upper body, okay? So these things here in the middle, these are capillaries. So this red oxygenated blood goes into the capillaries and it becomes deoxygenated. This is represented with blue. Your blood is not actually blue in your veins. It's deoxygenated blood will be a deeper red, but it won't be blue, okay? So oxygenated blood, bright red. Deoxygenated blood will be a deeper red. If you've ever given blood at a blood drive, that is deoxygenated blood because it comes from your veins. And notice it's like a really deep crimson red, but it's not bright red. Okay, so this deoxygenated blood has, let's say it's gone to your head, it's done gas exchange, it's fed your tissues oxygen, and now it has some carbon dioxide. And it is returning to your right atria. Notice your right atria, this is like stage right, stage left, right? So right atria will then contract and pump that blood into the right ventricle. The right ventricle will then contract and pump that blood into your pulmonary arteries. So arteries always carry blood away from the heart. Okay, arteries equal away. So that blood goes in your pulmonary arteries and it will go to your lungs. And in your lungs, that blood will then drop off its CO2 and pick up oxygen. And then it will return in your pulmonary veins into your left atria here. Okay? So into your left atria comes the oxygenated blood. It contracts into the left ventricle. That oxygenated blood goes. That ventricle contracts. It pumps into the aorta, which is the largest artery in your body. And then that aorta will go into like ascending and descending major arteries in your body. And then it goes to your body tissues and it comes back and it does the same thing over and over again. So it's a cycle. Okay, blood vessels. Blood vessels are a closed system for the flow of blood. You have three kinds: arteries, capillaries, and veins. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, and arteries will narrow into arterioles and then into capillary beds. And the capillary bed is where oxygen transfer happens. Then those after that blood has been deoxygenated, it will go into venules and then into a vein, and those veins will carry the blood back to the heart. Major blood vessels that go to and from the heart, you have the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. These are the two biggest veins in your body. They carry deoxygenated blood back to the heart. Superior comes from your head, inferior comes from your trunk. Your pulmonary arteries, remember artery equals away, so that carries deoxygenated blood to your lungs, away from your heart. And then your pulmonary veins bring oxygenated blood back to your heart. Pulmonary arteries and veins are very special because pulmonary arteries are the only arteries in your body that carry deoxygenated blood. And pulmonary veins are the only veins in your body that carry oxygenated blood. So these two are special because they carry the opposite of what's normal. And then your aorta is the largest artery in your body. It carries oxygenated blood away from your heart. Okay, remember blood is that fluid connective tissue allowing for transport. You have four components: red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, plasma. Hopefully you got that by now. So that is the end of our intro notes, but you have two more videos to watch. So the first one is how the heart actually pumps blood, and I want you to listen to the anatomy, so the structures, and the physiology, which is the function of the heart and circulatory system in the video. It's linked on Haiku. Watch it after you watch this video. And then the second video is Crash Course the Heart. It reviews and elaborates from today chambers, valves, and vessels, and it previews blood pressure. This is on Edpuzzle, so it's also going to be linked on Haiku. Make sure to use a name I know you by because I want to give you credit for it. Your IP is Cardiovascular IP number 1. It's linked on Haiku with a reading, and there is an exit ticket for you to complete about today's class. Email me if you have any questions. Come to office hours 1 to 2 p.m. every day. I hope that you are all healthy and well, and I will see you next time.